I just finished This Way for the Gas, Ladies and Gentlemen, by Tadeusz Borowski. Now, first of all, I've got to say how much I love this cover. It's one of these sick, chaotic, twisted oil paintings. Now, of course, it's a very gross style, but nevertheless, I love it, and it's absolutely appropriate for the subject matter. The cover painting is a cropped version of Bird's Hell by Max Beckmann, 1938. Here is the full image, courtesy of Christie's. Thank you very much. Now, this is a really amazing painting, and it's very appropriate for the story because Beckmann was a so-called degenerate artist in Germany, and he fled with his wife to Amsterdam. So the horrors of war and the corruption of society are very accurately reflected in this painting, and also the nature of torture, money, power, corruption, and sadism, all of which are in the pages of this book. From page 112, but this is how it is done. First, just one ordinary barn, brightly whitewashed, and here they proceed to asphyxiate people. Later, 4 large buildings, accommodating 20,000 at a time, without any trouble. No hocus-pocus, no poison, no hypnosis. Only several men, directing traffic to keep operations running smoothly. And the thousands flow along like water from an open tap. All this happens just beyond the anemic trees of the dusty little wood. Ordinary trucks bring people, return, then bring some more. No hocus-pocus, no poison, no hypnosis. Now, it's plainly obvious that Borowski did really experience all of these things, and so marked was he by his encounters in the camps, by his imprisonment there, that he wasn't able to reset and reacclimatize to the normal world. He lived for some time, but then, much to his horror, the Soviets started taking over, and people started disappearing again, but from the so-called other side of the so-called political spectrum. And that was too much. And with great irony, having escaped the gas chambers, he proceeded to gas himself in his apartment, leaving his wife and child behind. These books are brilliant, but they're bloody depressing, so I wouldn't blame anyone for not wanting to read this, although it is mercifully short. If this was the length of Europe Central, which is about that thick, I would struggle to get through it. I chose to read This Way for the Gas because of a comment received on my very popular video, Europe Central by Volleman. This is by Zeverina, who described Volleman as logorrheic. So I confess I didn't know what logorrheic meant, or Logorrhea. Of course, it comes from the logo, which is word or speech, and diarrhea, and it refers to someone who has what we would perhaps call verbal diarrhea. I don't have a proper citation for Logorrhea, but reading from the Economic Times of India, doctors in ancient Greece, including Hippocrates, first used the word. Today, logorrhea is often used to describe people who talk non-stop without clear meaning. And of course, we would call that verbal diarrhea. Thank you very much, Severina. Borowski did write a really incredible work, although very depressing, and the cruel irony in his life is really incredible. The only complaint I have about this book is in the introduction. The text seems to suggest that he didn't study anything because the Franciscan monks prevented him from studying. Although he was educated at a monastery, that was the option for the poor. It wasn't because the monks were against education in some way. That is a very minor complaint indeed. Thank you all very much for listening. I do hope you've enjoyed. I've certainly benefited from this book, and I might even buy a print of this painting because I think it's absolutely fabulous. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.